And we have Joe Cotela joining Scratch and Sniff today to talk about the new Dead record, Resent. Thanks for joining us. This record's killer. We were just talking about this a second ago, but it feels good to have you back, and it feels like you're more pissed off than ever.
Sorry, it cut out.
It feels really good to be talking about a new Dead record, and yeah, absolutely to discuss this record and dissect it a little bit.
Okay, yeah, hell yeah, dude. No, I mean we're super pumped to be back with new music and just kind of hitting it full force again, man. An amazing feeling and a lot of gratitude for it.
The last album came out in 2021. Can you bring us up to speed in terms of what happened in between the records and the delay and how it sort of impacted Dead?
Yeah, it was just kind of like, without spilling too much of whatever, it was just we were just kind of stuck with like having problems with like behind the scenes stuff. We weren't really like allowed to release music and all this stuff. So it really got, we were just coming out of the pandemic too. It was a tumultuous, 3 years or so. But the whole time we were making music and writing music and stuff. And then as we got out of that scenario, now we're where we are. And, so it was just, a lot of stuff that, everybody hears about, like the music industry stuff, that's how it goes. And we found ourselves in it, but we got through it, and we're feel like we're stronger for it. And again, it gives us a lot of gratitude to have had something that we felt like it was kind of taken away from us for a while, and to have it back is pretty amazing.
Resent sounds extremely heavy, like right out of the gate. It's sort of tearing your face off. It feels like you're sort of channeling the, I guess, all the bullshit. Or were you channeling all the bullshit from the past 3 years into this new record?
I mean, you have to imagine whatever whatever you're living, whatever's happening to you is going to go into your music. So I mean, I have to say that. But it was, it was, we were writing just coming out of the pandemic. That other record, School of Thought, was done. It was supposed to come out like 2 weeks into the pandemic when we shut down. So then we just sat on it through the whole thing and then put it out afterward, which didn't help that, at all. And then, so it was, there was a lot of things that happened, a lot of frustrations, a lot of things like that. So I don't know that I directly intentionally wrote about anything like that, in particular, but I think just, I do think that life gets into your lyrics, gets into your music for sure.
So what did the writing and recording process for this record look like compared to previous Dead albums? Were you able to like experiment more? Did that that extended time that you had in between records allow you the ability to sort of live with the material a little more and let it breathe?
It really did, and this time around, like I was saying, because we had so many question marks. Like the guys built a studio in Phoenix, and we just like recorded a bunch of stuff ourselves, and we ended up just doing the record ourselves, and then sourcing out and having our friend Zach Jones mix it. But we recorded all of it ourselves, and like I was saying, we couldn't do anything else, so we were just like, let's just write a bunch of music. Let's just still be, still live our purpose and still create music and be a band any way that we can. And so we did that, and it was cool. Like it was different because it was like this like limbo that we were in. So it was like, I don't know if this is even gonna be able to come out someday. We had no idea. So we're just making stuff that we loved, that made us feel happy, and so I think it made for a really cool record. It's just, there's no producer with it. It's just us. So it's like I was saying, it's like the most unfiltered version of Dead, I guess, that we've put out. And we really like put all of our influences into this. I think there's a lot of super heavy stuff, like you were saying, but then there's a lot of really melodic stuff. There's a lot of, there's like hard rock and punk and industrial and hip hop and like everything in there, like I feel like we really represented all of the things that we love in music,
Like a back to basics sort of approach when you're just creating music for the love of creating music, like whatever inspires you.
That was what was happening. Yeah. It was just like, let's just have fun, and do this, because we don't even know if it's even, really going to see the light of day, under the circumstances we were in too. So, so yeah, it was just like stuff that made us feel stoked. And we got to the other side of things, and we're just like, cool, let's narrow this down. We had so many songs. Let's just narrow this down into a nice a nice pack of songs that represents a lot of the different vibes. And I hope a lot of the other stuff sees the light of day in some way, you know, with the way things are now with singles and it's streaming and everything. Like, you know, you can just put music out every couple weeks. It doesn't even matter. So we, you know, some of those other ones, hopefully we'll put out, maybe we'll save some of them for another record. We'll see what happens, but we're proud of all of it. I mean, it's really, I was listening to it last night. I hadn't listened to it in a while and I was just like, yeah, dude, I really love this. This is like, sounds like a record or a band that I would love to find if I wasn't in it. You know what I mean? And that's really cool to me.
Circling back to that point, though, the music industry is ever changing. You're talking about streaming data, singles, albums, those sorts of things. How do you deal with all those factors when it can sometimes like stifle creativity? Like, do you just sort of do what you do and let the chips fall where they may, or how deep do you go into that sort of stuff, or I guess tackle those things?
Yeah, I try to separate the two. You know, I don't want to be thinking about all that stuff while we're making music. You know what I mean? Like that can mess you up. You know, like and I've done that before in different ways where, you know, I'll be like, oh, is this song good? You know, will people like this? Will this song, you know, work on the radio? Like, will this song work on whatever? You know, and that kind of thing. And like, I think that messes up your art. You know, frankly, I think it messes up your music. I think you have to just make stuff that you love that resonates with you as a person. And I feel like it resonates with you, it'll resonate with other people. Cause we're all made up of the same thing, you know, pretty much. So I don't usually think about, oh, you know, what's going to happen to this. Like that's like anxiety and fear and stuff. And you can't create from a place of fear. Like fear can't exist in creation. It has no place there, in my opinion, personally, unless you're writing a song about that, I guess, then it makes sense. You know, if you're using it for something to write about. But I think you have to write from a place of no fear. Like writing music is a musician or an artist, is their safe place. It's their place that they go to escape all the other stuff and get lost in an idea and express themselves, you know?
It's a crazy time in music, though, in terms of like, you know, you have labels analyzing TikTok sound bites and will this work? And like, it's such a crazy time in music that those are even factors of or a thought that crosses people's mind.
Right. I agree. I mean, I know everybody's got to do what they got to do. I don't know if it makes me old school to not think like that, because it doesn't define, you know, a band that's going to resonate in real life. And I've seen statistics where, you know, the online bands come out and they go on tour and it doesn't translate. People just want to click on like on their photo and comment on it. They don't want to go see them in a live setting. You know, some of them do translate and it's great, you know? So it's just like the real stuff rises to the top, I think, is how that works, you know, just like it always was. It's just a different avenue that people go down now. I think it's, you know, it's definitely got positives and negatives. I think the labels have always, a lot of the bigger labels have always been scrambling to just grab, you know, the hot fucking thing whenever it is. You know, I'm not too worried about that stuff. You know, and we went with a really fantastic like indie style label, UNFD, who's awesome. They have a killer roster, a great kind of like scene around their label, and it's really cool to be a part of that. So yeah, we really try not to like worry too much about all the other stuff that's going on and just focus on making music and just being the sickest band we can be, pretty much.
The new deal with UNFD, what was it about them that made them the perfect fit for DED?
Well, they were, you know, we were friends with one of the people that worked there, and we have a great rapport with her, and she worked at Fearless for a long time. She's at UNFD now, and then we just kind of had a conversation with them, and they loved DED. Like they were passionate about DED. Like they knew about our songs and our records, and like they knew about it. Like they were like, you know, that doesn't happen a lot of times. You go into a label, they're like, oh, hey, what's up? You know, like we like this one song, and like, you know, we're gonna give you this guy over here, and he's gonna, you know what I mean? Like it's not as personal, and I think that we really connected with feeling, you know, like a connection with these people. They're people that are going to be you know, involved in pushing the record and in everything that we do. So I think it was really like this personality thing that was really cool with us, and it makes us feel like we're all equals and we can just talk like they're all just extensions of the band, you know. And I think that was a really cool vibe to be with.
So getting back to the record, you got these incredible guests. You have, Chad from Mudvayne, Chris from Motionless in White, Danny from Upon a Burning Body. Can you give us
Sorry, it's
some
cutting out a
insight
little
in?
bit.
Oh, sorry. Can you give us some insight into how these collaborations came about?
Yeah. I mean, just it's just like they're all friends, and so it was just like I was hanging out in Vegas one night with Ed and Shannon, and we were just talking about, I don't know what we were talking about. This was, maybe a couple of years ago that we first talked about it, and we were just talking about doing a song together. And I've known Chad for a very long time. He lived in Arizona, which is where I'm from, and um, we would hang out all the time. And he produced one of my old band's records, and so I've just known him for a very long time, since like 2012 or something. Um, and we're just talking, and he was like, "Yeah, what kind of song would you want to do, or whatever?" And I want to do something super heavy with you, man. Just something crazy, some crazy banger. Let's do that. And he was all about it. So we did that. And same thing. I just hit up Chris. Like I had done Slaughterhouse with Motionless at Red Rocks. Did that song. I did Brian's part from Knock Loose, and it was just awesome to just get up and do a song with Motionless, just a ripper. And I thought, dude, I'd love to do a ripper with Chris. Like let's just do something super heavy. So we did that song, and it turned out amazing. He killed it. And then with Danny, we had the song Rise Above It All, and we just felt like it was missing some teeth when it was amongst the rest of the record that we had kind of narrowed it down to. And we thought, I just kept hearing his voice doing these certain things, and he has this great clarity inside of how heavy his voice is, and he's really audible. And so we asked him to do it, and I could just hear it. I just knew it was going to be awesome. And then gave him a little bit of guidance, and then he just kind of took it and ran with it. And he just sent in his parts, and it was just so good. He just killed it, and he just made the song for me for that one. And so yeah, it was really organic, just friends. We weren't chasing. Like I remember we had the conversation with Chad. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm not trying to chase your clout, to try to get you on a song for radio and whatever. It's just like I just want to make cool music, and I'd love to hear Chad just now they just put out a super heavy song, which is awesome. The new Mudvayne song's so sick. But
it just came out this morning, right?
Yeah, it just came out. Yeah. So so proud of him, and so awesome for them to be back and put out new music. But at that time, again, we were talking about it. It was a year and a half, 2 years ago. I was like, I just want to hear you on something super heavy, so come be on my super heavy song, and let's do that. So so we worked on that together, and just had such an amazing time. And it's cool to be friends with someone like Chad or Chris, Danny, any of them, because I'm a fan of their music as well. And so it's just such an honor to have them appreciate our band as well as be friends. You can be friends and then not do stuff like that, but it's just cool to have them come in, and it feels again, just gratitude for it. And they all really killed it and added a lot to the songs.
I know you've always been open about struggles with anxiety and mental health. When you're off stage and outside of the studio, is there any personal practices or routines you help to keep you grounded?
Yeah, 100%. And every day it's like a struggle to have that discipline to practice it. But I do a lot of breath work. There's a guy named John Paul Creamy. I hope I didn't ruin his name, but I do his breath work classes, which is just an amazing thing. I try to get about 10 to 12,000 steps in a day. I'll do like a jog walk kind of thing back and forth, like intermittent type stuff. And then trying to think what else I do. I mean, those are the two main things. And then I try to be, eat healthy. I've been trying to be healthier about food and stuff like that. All those things are so important, just getting exercise, meditating, taking that time away from your mind, from the world, and checking in with your heart, checking in with your intuition and yourself, and silencing the thinking mind. It's super important. So yeah, I try to practice that stuff, as often as I can.
Lyrically, this record, because you're sort of diving into like self-evaluation and breaking negative behavior patterns.
Yeah.
So I guess it all ties in that way. Are you hoping that this record's sort of like, that can be like an anchor to pull somebody out of a dark space, or something to lean on when they need it most?
I mean, of course, I would love for that to be the case. I have my albums that I go to when I need a little bit of a pick me up, whether it's if I'm going to go work out and I just don't feel like it, I need somebody to get me pumped, or I need somebody to be sympathetic at the time. And, you can find all that in music. So I think I would love for that to be the case. I'd love for people to dissect the lyrics and really dive into it, because it's not just heavy. It's not all, just like beat you up, whatever stuff. Like there's a lot of, what I would consider like ethos and mindset in there. And a lot of it is stuff that I'm dealing with myself, that I put into the music, like I'm not like preaching in there, like saying, yo, you're all need to fix yourselves and do this stuff. It's like, this is what I'm trying to do for myself. And that's why it goes into the music. It's like you hear something that's really interesting to you. You want to tell other people about it. So I think of these things, or I read about something that's important to me, that's impactful to me. And I want to put it back into a song and hopefully have it resonate with somebody else. So it's a place of release, and it's a place of reflection, like that. The music, that's what I'm saying. The music's like your safe space to look through all that, comb through it, and then say something about it.
I love that about the record, though, that it is like so aggressive. It can be in your face. There's a duality to it with the melodies and the hooks, but at the same time, there's sort of that root of positivity at the that's built on the foundation of from it.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate that, and that's always been something for me. I've always loved music with like an empowering message underneath it. And oftentimes, angry music, like, it can be positive, of course, like, it's positive in a lot of ways. And there's a positive undertone underneath all of it. Really, the stuff that's angry, that I'm really mad about, usually is about my frustration with things not being better, of course. But I try to offer a solution, I think, on the record. Maybe not in every single song. Certain songs might just be like, yo, I'm fed up with this. I'm sick of it. I'm at my wit's end. But, I think the record as a whole, it offers solutions. It offers peace. It offers, ways to be better, and change in the world starts inside of each of us. So this is my little contribution in the big stage of life, to try to inspire other people. And it's a way from, it's like my diary. It's like what I'm thinking about, what I'm living. I'm just putting it down in there. And I always try to be diary honest with my lyrics. Most of my favorite bands are that way. And, just don't want to just be like, yo, everything sucks, see you later. It's more like, yo, things are messed up. These are some of the things that I'm trying to do. These are some of the things that maybe you can think about trying to do, and let's make the world a better place. And let's do it together. Listen to heavy music, and at a show, slamming into each other, unifying, that positive, negative type thing.
We recently lost Ozzy Osbourne just after groundbreaking. He played his farewell show at Back to the Beginning with Black Sabbath. As an artist, and sort of seeing the highlights, seeing everything that happened with that farewell show, does it sort of force you to look at and evaluate what a natural conclusion point might be for your own band?
A natural conclusion point for our band? That's interesting. I don't necessarily know what you're saying.
Like, does it force you to look at, like, the end of, is there a natural point where it's like, okay, are we just do this till the wheels fall off, or do we, where's that end point for you, or do you have one?
Well, that's hard to think. Like, I don't even think that far. I think into the future, honestly. The Ozzy thing was more heavy for me, as far as like, it was wild because he's always existed in the world, as like this thing that just seemed timeless and like invincible and infinite, almost, like, without thinking about it. That's just how I felt about Ozzy Osbourne. Growing up listening to him with my dad, my uncle, and cousins, and different people. It was really influential for me to get into I think, heavier music. It was more impactful to me in the sense of like, this thing that was always there is gone now, and I had so many memories attached to it. And I know that he's a person as well, and so like, obviously that's a completely separate thing. Just for me as a fan, it was just like, I appreciated him so much. And then that last show, they made so much money, and like, what an amazing way to cap off his life and his legacy. And it just makes you proud to support and to be inspired by somebody like that. So, and he's been around for decades and decades and decades. So it's like, I can't even imagine being around that long. I mean, what band gets to be relevant for 50 years or however long they were relevant for? It's pretty rare. I don't necessarily expect that. That'd be amazing, of course, if it made sense. But I don't think about, 20 or 30 years down the line. I don't really think about stuff like that at this point at all, honestly. But that'd be a good problem to have if we were still relevant in anywhere near what, Ozzy Osbourne was doing. That'd be incredible.
I know you were close to Adam from Dropout Kings. You could play some shows. You guested on Lights Out from their Right Music album. Are there the things that you remember the most about Adam, and are there standout moments that sort of come to the surface when you hear of his untimely passing?
Yeah, man, we did. We're both from Arizona. I've known him for a long time, and even as they were coming up, as they were starting to be a band, DED was finding that our first kind of year of doing cool things, having some success, and they were starting to come up, and they were so good. And I remember he and I would just talk all the time for years until they they got their legs, and they started killing it. But we talked for hours on the phone here and there, texting all the time. And then being on the phone, just asking me about the music industry, asking me about this or that. Whenever I would get maybe on like Octane, if I was doing like a DJ thing, I'd always play their song. I just really believed in them, and I just loved Adam. He had such an amazing presence and energy about him. He was such a hard worker. He was so positive. He was so stoked all the time. Just one of those salt of the earth people. Just absolutely loved him. And we finally got to do a tour together the end of last year. And then right before that, I think we had done, they reached out about getting down on a song. And so we did Lights Out together. And that was, especially in retrospect now, I'm so happy that we did all that stuff after, talking about it for such a long time. And that's another thing, is it just shows you that life is short. And so, I'm glad that we got that stuff done, but we waited years until we did it. So, it's just so sad. And, I miss him. I go back through our messages together, and I read some of that stuff sometimes, and I could still feel him, because we weren't always together, but a lot of times we'd just be texting and stuff. So in a way, it makes me feel, like we're still chatting a little bit. But their new record just came out too, and it's the last thing that he put down musically, and so it was really beautiful to have that last kind of memory and expression of him. And I think it's some of the best music they did, thus far. Absolutely. And it sounds so good, and everybody should go check it out. And I love Adam. I miss him.
He really was one of those guys that could light up a room, or like even if you're on the phone with him, like you're instantly smiling within seconds. He was just that type of guy that could, even if you're having a bad day, he would brighten your mood like instantly.
100%. He's like, dude, he's like a little alien, bro. He's like Lil Wayne kind of vibe or something like that. Just like super weird, but just laughing. You make everybody laugh. Just always down for whatever. Just we need more people like him.
Absolutely. So I guess to wrap things up then, now coming back to Resent for a second, it comes out on September 19th. Yep. It feels like the band's hitting a new stride. What's the bigger picture look like for DED, and what do you hope that people take away from this record?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I mean, it really is. It's like, because we were away for 2 or 3 years, which is crazy. Nowadays, 2 or 3 years is like 5 or 6 years. Back in the day, you could be away for 2 years and nobody would even think about it. But it's interesting. Yeah, it's like we're kind of reintroducing ourselves to the world, which is exciting in a way. It's like a little bit of a breath of fresh air. And to be releasing this new record, we're so proud of it. The day the album comes out, we're playing Louder Than Life, which is amazing to be back on these festivals. We did Sonic Temple this year. We're going to be doing a bunch of them next year. The day after, right after the album comes out, we play Louder Than Life, and then we go on the tour, the Black Mass tour with In This Moment, Dayseeker, and the Funeral Portrait. So that's going on for I think it's like 6 weeks, a month and a half or so. So that's going to be a sick way to end the year. And then the album will be out, let everybody kind of digest it throughout the end of the year, and then get back into getting on the road, playing festivals, doing shows, tours, whatever it is, and releasing music a lot more consistently now. Like I said, we have a lot of stuff in the bank, and we're always writing. We have our own studio, we have our own stuff now, and so we're super empowered, and we're just grateful to be back in this position, back in this seat, talking to people like yourself, talking to anybody that we're talking to, people that still support the band, or there's a lot of new people that we're going to usher in, I'm sure, as we go. So just full of gratitude, and I'm really happy to be here.
That tour lineup is sick too. Like it feels like everybody on that bill like offers something, brings something different to the table, and it's definitely an eclectic lineup.
Sorry, it trailed off. You said it's
yeah. It's definitely an eclectic lineup for sure. Like Funeral Portrait from to In This Moment to Dayseeker, like everybody's a little bit different and brings something different to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is. It's such a cool, and I really I dig all the bands on the tour, which doesn't always happen, and it's really cool. And I'm looking forward to meeting everybody and broing down and having a good time. And yeah, there's like a little bit of like, all the bands have a little bit of essence of like Halloween, which is cool because it's like around Halloween time, like fall's starting to creep in certain areas, and it will as the tour goes. So I think it'll be a fun vibe for that kind of Halloween thing. That always makes for a cool show.
Yeah, Funeral Portrait, those guys are killing it right now. And then when I finally saw them, their live show is incredible. Lee is amazing on stage. All those bands are, but just recently saw them live for the first time, and they definitely sold it. So
hell yeah. I've talked to Lee. We've been chatting on Instagram a little bit here and there. I haven't been able to see them live, but he seems like a sweetheart, and we're already broing down. So I'm looking forward to spending a month and a half with them.
It's going to be a great killer tour. So, and this record, I'm excited for the release of this record. I really do think that it's a powerful record. Like I said, you guys it feels like you're hitting a stride, and I definitely think that there's a lot of different things about this record that like anybody could get into it. You can get into the aggressiveness, or you can get into like fall in love with the hooks and melodies that are going to keep it on repeat.
Right. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. And, we really love it. We back it, wholeheartedly. So it's going to be awesome to put it out and see how the world responds to it. But we also don't really have any expectation either. It's not like we don't want to go in thinking like, oh, you don't want to put too much pressure on that. We just want to make something that we are proud of, that we believe in, and put it out and just let it be what it is.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time today.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I had a good time.
Hey, thanks again.
Cool. We'll see you later.